Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, our Impact Wrestling fam? Welcome to episode 125 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Jeff, and alongside me again is the John Schuyler to my Jason Hodge. It's Lucha, everybody. What's going on, buddy?
Hi, everybody. I'm out here. Screen froze on my side still, but I can hear you.
You're
I
froze?
don't think I need to see you. Yeah, we're froze, but
we can figure it out.
there we go. Wait, yeah, I mean it. Fuck it. But other than that, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Christmas was wonderful. I'm not frozen anymore.
Okay.
Christmas was wonderful. I was showing you I got a gang of records. I am, however, a little bit upset / relieved. I'm disappointedly relieved.
Okay. Should I ask further?
Well, it's related to Hard to Kill. I'm
Okay.
going to Atlanta. I've got tickets to the Sunday tapings.
Right. Oh, nice. Okay, good.
Not the Sunday, the Saturday, excuse me.
Gotcha.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Couldn't get tickets to the event, at least not yet. I had a lady on Twitter who was going to sell me some, but multiple avenues weren't working, and my spidey senses were tingling something serious. So after the third thing went through, I was like, well, maybe this just isn't meant to be.
Yeah.
So,
well, here to hear. If anyone's got a ticket or an avenue for Lucha to buy one of the sold-out Hard to Kill tickets, let us know. It's going to be a off-the-rails show, but when isn't it? But we have Lucha in the house this week and next, post and pre-Hard to Kill, so we're going to hit a lot, including the Hard to Kill predictions. Tonight, Mercedes odds going up, possibly. If you joined me last week, hey, Io in the house. What's going on, buddy?
yeah.
Yeah, so I said 50-50 last week. Mine actually goes up, and we'll talk about that. We'll get Lucha's opinion, as well as the TNA branding, and I talked about that at least last week, but want to obviously get his opinion and take on that. And then some cool things going on outside the world. I don't know about cool, but we'll talk about them outside of the world of wrestling, or outside of Impact's wrestling, excuse me. And some other things. We're back with Power Rankings. We got that, and we'll have a fun one.
I make my debut on Power Rankings this week.
Right, and Lucha finally joins the Power Rankings this Tuesday with Bert and Datia. Yeah, that'll be really cool, man. So they're up in the ante there. Show's going to go longer. It's its own little realm, man. Its own little world. If you're on the Power Rankings committee, you are in control. It's very simple. After Thursday's episode, from somewhere from there to Sunday, noon Eastern time, you vote 1 through 10. We do the rest. That's all.
Vote
That's
or
all.
cry.
It is. Vote or cry. That's how it goes. But speaking of that, let's jump right into it. I'll plug everything else as we go, but we got a lot of show to get to. So let's go to the Power Rankings. Lucha, I'm going to ask you real quick, though, is there someone particular that you want to see on this thing?
I don't know if this is as intentional of a layup as it feels, but he was still a big part of our company's history, and honestly the company's future, because he's going to be the soundtrack for all video packages in the past. And you can't forget my man DW, Don Take Measure West. So
respect. Yeah, man.
Behind the curtain, I did vote Don West in at number 1. So did my boy Godzilla, because he just means that much to the history of this company. So we just got to make sure that my man gets his utmost props, especially since last week we couldn't do the video with Don West being 1 through 10.
Right.
So,
well, either way, we have a thing at the beginning for him. We talked about him and said our piece last week. It seems like everyone else, including the Twitterverse, which was trending number 5, was giving love to Don West. So I hope you guys enjoy that. For Don. And they did a nice... Well, I don't want to get too far ahead. We all know what they did this episode as well, and we'll talk about that. But let's get to those Power Rankings.
let's do it.
Number 10, Exhibition Champion Trey Miguel. Number 9, World Champion Jordan Grace. Number 8, Taylor Wilde. Number 7, Black Taurus and Crazy Steve. Number 6, Jonathan Gresham. Number 5, Hard to Kill Mickey James. Number 4, Hard to Kill Bully Ray. Number 3, World Champion Josh Alexander. Number 2, Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns. Number 1, in loving memory, Don West.
TNA, TNA, TNA.
All right, there's our love to Don, guys. Yeah, so some really cool stuff on there. I have to admit that it is marky of me, but I have to. Something's going on with the Tron. Forgive us, but the fact that Jonathan and Jordan are both on the power rankings together is pretty damn cool. To have Jonathan Gresham on there is. And possibly, well, not possibly, definitely, it seems to be on a weekly basis if they give him the respect he deserves. But, Lucha, what's your first thought about that outside of Don West as far as the power rankings go? A little bit of weird of an episode as far as who had matches and who won and all those different things. But I thought a good one. We'll get right into that. But your thoughts on the rankings really quickly. Not too much. Give them a taste because you're going to have your show with Datia, who just popped. Datala. I'm going to start saying it right. Datala. I've been doing better. But yeah, quick, give them a little taste of it. What do you...
I mean, all I can really say without going too into it is like it seemed like as far as in ring goes, it was like as far as who wrestled, it was more about the everyone else because the champs is already set in their ways. Most of the challengers is already set, so I mean it was just
advancing,
packing in the rest of everything. Yeah. So it will be a crazy ranking to have like a bunch of. I don't want to say let's put it. All I can say is this. That's the only way I can explain and excuse 10 and 9 being the X Division and Knockouts champion.
Hey, at
it's
least
the only way I can excuse that.
You know me, I'm a very champion. It makes sense. Josh, obviously still polling really well. Yeah, it was an episode where there was so much they're getting in here to get us to where we're going. So I'm pleasantly surprised at how it actually turned out. But I could see the arguments. Giselle, there's people that didn't get their shine on there as well. So anything, but you guys will get to hear their opinions this Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. PST. Eastern for you.
PST.
PST.
Eastern for me.
Yes.
PST for them.
Coast to Coast show with a new intro as well. I figured out this Tron.
Oh, snap.
All right. So let's get on
You just gotta smack it. You know what I'm saying? Just smack it a couple times. Just let it. See, look at that. Look at that.
Oh, look at that? Well, there's obviously ones that aren't working. Well, let's get into this. So we're talking Impact on Access. Before we get to that, I want to say thank you guys. I don't know what it's been, but I appreciate it. Obviously, we, Lucha will be doing the post pay-per-view shows with me every month. But I've been rocking solo and building, trying to build something with you guys and talk to you guys individually. And the numbers we appreciate it. I'll say that. We're keeping steady. But also 354. We're on our path to 400. We're on our path to 400. And 3,971. So we're creeping our way to that 4K. So thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you to all the likes, subscribes, all that stuff, follows, everything that's going. Thank you. But let's get into this, because first we're starting with some Iceman Intel, and this Iceman Intel, live on the show. Oh, hey, I'm double duty here. Iceman Intel, actually some break-in stuff. Kushida is healthy and returning to Impact Wrestling.
He's recrossed the line.
He has recrossed the line. I'm gonna start saving those for actually people that we know sign. We have to make sure we're stingy in our graphic, but because I don't know about Anthony Green. We'll talk about that in a second. But Kushida is returning, however you want to word it, on loan or whatever. But he's going right into a hard to kill match which looks to be an X Division showcase. Masalko, welcome back. And I know we'll talk about, give our predictions and talk about it later. But just to tell you who else is in there, you got Alan Angels, or just Angels, excuse me. Mike Bailey, Mike Jackson making a return, because obviously we're in Atlanta. I get it. Yuya Uemura and Bhupinder Gujjar. So a showcase of
freaking Rollins.
A showcase, not a number one contender. So I'm not really gonna, whatever. Kushida's just popping back up, and all different reasons we can go into that. But I think as far as a showcase and something fun to start the show, why not? And to have Kushida back is a plus. Now there's some other things we'll get into. I'll save that for my questions for you later. But we do get a match on BTI here, and it is Giselle Shaw with Jay Vidal. There we go. Who got a sign, by the way. Shout out to whoever had that sign. Hello, Critical Sting. Welcome.
Yeah.
Time Machine versus everybody. Let's go. I'm cool with that. But against Kylan King. Kylan King going back-to-back on BTI. And Tom asks us, let's see who the better athlete is. And Jeff says in my head, I say, hopefully it's the one that signed Impact, because that would be nice. And it was. Obviously, Giselle picking up the win here. What an odd statement.
Right.
Who's better here? Hopefully one that works here. But I have to ask you, because I self-admittedly am not too familiar. I'm getting boned up thanks to the chat here that's been telling me about her. But what are your initial thoughts on Kylan King? Do you know of her work? And it seems to be she's only shortly into the process of becoming a star or whatever. But I think she has a good look and a damn good ring presence. So, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's my thing. She has a good look, number one. She has good ring presence, too. I like her style. She was actually one, because I used to watch AEW, and when I did, I only watched Dark or Elevation because I wanted to see about the other, other side.
Indie upcoming.
Yeah, people that were like signed and like out the top 10. You know what I'm saying? 11 through 15 cats. That's what I was there for. She was she was on there. I saw her in like singles action. She tagged with Red Velvet and was decent. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy though, because you see Kylan King and like how she comes out, right? But then she comes out with Red Velvet, and while she still looks the same, she's doing the whole stir it up shit with Red Velvet, because that's her whole thing, or at least it was at the time.
Yeah.
And
making cake.
Like, she's Red Velvet.
Living the gimmick.
I fucked with Red Velvet because like her introduction was from Straight Out of Your Mama's Kitchen.
Fair. Let's stick with Kylan King though. So Kylan King loses.
Kylan King is nice.
Okay. So Kylan King's nice. She loses to Giselle, and okay, I'll get it eventually. It's always the, well, I won't say what it is, but
Treehouse.
Yeah, it's always a certain kind. Gives me that moose tongue, man. But after this, and Giselle Shaw, hey, look at that, looking good here. Still keeping her in the mix, which I love. She's picking up dubs, but we'll talk about why that matters in a little bit. Even though she lost, the thing with Deanna last week or 2 weeks or whatever it was. Next, of course, they start with the Don West image. We have recaps, and we have screens in the building. I like that they're adding some screenage here. I don't know if it's part of the places they're going or not. I know it's not the ideal look for all of us, but it's an improvement, and it's a sign of maybe a step in the right direction. But we're going to go right into... They're getting back to doing the main event on each side here, and we get the return of Masha's a pretty damn... good start to the show, but first we get Deanna looking wonderful. Deanna-like, virtuosa-like.
Yeah.
And she's on commentary, like the play with her and Ray Walt, keeping that continuity there. I love that. But she's there, and she's scouting out 2 of the now 3 of her competitors that will be in this number 1 contendership match at Hard to Kill, getting Killer Kelly added to that, which is really cool. Healed up, which I'm happy about. But Masha Slamovich is losing here, rocking the Atomics, by the way, true wrestling cat right there, versus Taylor Wilde. So the witchy Taylor Wilde picking up the win here. Your first thoughts about Masha coming back, and then let's also bunch this together because I think it's important. I think sometimes we just go by the results and not the context of the results. She comes back. I want to talk about that in just a second. She comes right into this number 1 contendership match, but she's got to first go through Taylor Wilde. She loses. It wasn't a clean loss. It wasn't you just got squashed. She was dominant throughout the match, I would say. It was, back and forth at some points. But your overall thoughts on the decision here with Masha losing, what Taylor's going to do, and who do you think's coming? Well, we'll talk about who you think's going to come out number one contender. We'll talk about that later, I guess. But just overall, do you like what they're doing with the knockouts here?
I love it, especially now that there's like history. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been long enough to where shit can start like, because how I looked at the match, it was pretty much Taylor Wilde versus Awesome Kong in the $25,000 challenge. Because Taylor won that shit just
barely. Right.
Same. So it's basically, to me, that was the same match, and then I like it because now us as a fan, no matter what kind of fan we are, it's like, oh snap, well Taylor Wilde's been on a heater, you know what I'm saying, or Masha's dropped 3 in a row, ain't no way,
right?
So it's getting a lot of intrigue, and then it's like, well, Killer Kelly's coming back, how's she gonna play into everything, and then Deanna's on commentary, you know what I'm saying, she's in the, it's
on fire, man. And shout out to Masalko, who's saying really dug the fire in this match. Yeah, I thought it was a hard-hitting, great match. I can't say enough great things about Taylor and how, I would say, ignorant I was prior about her coming back. Once again, I think when you're in that era of knockout that she was, and she's still picking up dubs back then, it's hard to break that ceiling of Mickey's and Gales and Awesome Kongs and beautiful people and ODB and all those personalities. But, she's amazing, man. Love the evolution of this new character. Keeps her strong. And the point I was going to make was I don't think it hurts Masha. She goes after this match and is attacking officials. Spencer, by the way, I saw you ducking behind the other refs. But what I want to say is, I think there's some booking choices in history that you can look back at and say, oh, okay, whatever, why, right? And I said a lot of things about Masha was how they book her after the 2 losses was what matters most to me, right? So when I saw this was on the cards and then this is what happened, I'm like, okay, is this the right thing? But then I started to think about it. The only times Impact really has done that was when something came up, someone's contract and someone was leaving, so they had to abruptly change some shit, and then you see some weird booking, or someone got injured and some weird booking happens, or someone's not going to resign, so they don't know. You could kind of tell, follow the breadcrumbs, and you could kind of see, and that's why I'm a little more patient, generally, most of the time. And in this case, I thought about it, and I said the 3rd time matters for her to beat Jordan. But this kind of booking here tells me that they're now taking plan B with Masha. And if they're taking plan B, that means they're going to make her lose a little bit because they have to show that on camera that she is now a week-to-week competitor compared to the special attraction she was, where we were getting her come dominate, come win. Now she had some big losses and she went away. Is this the perfect way to do it? No, I think there was a plan A. But Lucha, I'm telling you, buddy, for you to take someone, Masha, who I don't think it's anything personal. I don't think there's any backstage heat. I think she's right part of the family. I don't think it has anything to do with that. So you check that off the list. I don't think they think less of her talent. You check that off the list. They don't think anything less of her potential. You check that off the list. So what is it? Is she injured? No, I don't think so. So why do you go this route and put her down to an everyday competitor? Is there someone you want to that's coming in that you want to feature more? And maybe it's not a matter of do you want to feature more, it's a matter of this person demands more. And I think the change in Masha's direction really started right after that second loss to Jordan. And I don't think it had anything to do with Masha. I'm just saying my Mercedes numbers went up, buddy.
I mean, don't get it wrong, because I broke it down to you, when I texted you the other day, my whole spiel about it. But like, I don't look at it as if they're bumping her down to a everyday competitor, as you said.
Oh, it's not a negative. It's not.
No,
negative.
I know.
Okay.
I know exactly what you meant, but I don't think that's where we're going. I think because there's still a story to be told with how she's gonna react to these losses and how that's gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Look. They're not throwing her in the water and say, "Oh, sorry, man." Just like Giselle
Yeah.
had to do that weird situation because of the Lady Frost situation. We really believe that. If we really believe that they were going to do a tag team, and then eventually they break, whatever. Then you could see what happened. And I feel that this is a similar. I just think this is Plan B. They're still going to take care of her. She's still killing on the indies. She's still doing her stuff, and they still believe in her. So the only thing that tells me that there has to be something else bigger than that is for you to sideline the true plans for Masha originally. Has to be something
Just gotta
bigger.
keep her a threat.
Anyways, they're keeping her a threat. They're gonna do well by her, but I just think this ups my percentage even more. Yeah, and you guys could laugh at me. I don't care.
You
But
need a Sasha percentage meter every week until this happens.
Hey, this is the last one before our next show is after Hard to Kill. So, but let's keep this train going because Sammy is doing a little promo here, getting back to being Sammy. I like this for Sammy. But he wants to be in the design again. I thought we got a definitive answer last week, but he's saying now he wants an even more definitive answer, yes or no. We'll get our response, and we'll talk about that in a second. But next up, Rich Swann is making a challenge to Macklin. No DQ, falls count anywhere is where we're going with this, and we get it at Hard to Kill. Do you think this is... Well, once again, I keep trying to stop us because we're going to do our predictions, but... Excited for this match, and do you think it's just a Rich Swann re-signed? Macklin obviously still the guy we think is on the trajectory for that world title. Excited for this match though, regardless.
Oh hell yeah! Because I mean, first like the styles is just This is gonna be like as soon as the bell rings, it's gonna look just like a Dragon Ball Z fight, like when they're fighting in the sky and you just don't see them, but you see like shit in the air, to show like they're over here fighting and shit. Like that's what this match is gonna be. This should open the show because I swear after this match is over, everybody's on their feet.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's one of those.
And now I don't know if the X Division match is it a
I think the
pre-show?
5-way is a pre-show.
Okay. Then, yeah, this is what they should open with. Because it is going to be, and it gives me vibes of what one opened, was it Macklin versus Sammy that did it like that? And it kind of went over the course of the show. Now, I don't think this is what happens here.
It was like the second or third match on the show.
Oh, okay.
And then that shit happened, and then it picked back up later, which was dope.
Right. And now I
loved that.
I think that was actually with our non-sensey. That's the right reason. Because what one? Not Under Siege, not Overdrive. Emergence. That was on Emergence. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to this as well. I think it's just going to be, once again, another feud to keep two guys who should be on that DMC and up level. So I like this. There was times where this part of the roster, and I'm trying to stay away from using the mid card, but this part of our roster was very thin. So it's really cool to see some two cats who fit the part. Next up, you get Crazy Steve announcing Black Taurus, which I still dig this, man. Makes Black Taurus feel new entrance and stuff. Makes him, he looks healed up. I didn't see the bandages. He moved well. And he's defeating Anthony Green here, someone who I don't think signed. But it was a back and forth victory or back and forth fight with someone who is the number one contender to the X Division title. So I think that's a statement of Black Taurus being, their feelings towards him. But I also think it's, their feelings towards if Anthony Green signed or not. And I think the answer is no on that one.
I think he signed, but also in the same breath, I mean, like he's in the ring with the number one contender. Like my man's not gonna.
Two things can be. I think two things can be the same. Even if he signed, yes, the logic is there. This is the number one contender. This just because they talked about this dude or said, "Hey, Iceman Intel,"
and the fact that this is his first match, right? First match in Impact.
This is his first. Yes.
And for your first match to be against the number one contender, to me, that says something.
Yeah, and that's the way to look at it. Both ends of that spectrum is one, he fought the number one contender in his first match. and it was a valiant effort. They didn't make him look weak. So I enjoy it. And you can't, like, once again, I said my whole thing last week about not every signing can be a world champion home run. And I'm not saying this guy can't grow into it. I don't know, once again, know his work except for this little bit. But you can be excited about someone coming in and then keep the expectations where you want them. They don't need to be, oh, this guy just signed, he has to be DMC next week or X Division champion next week. But also with the match ending with Trey coming out after, the celebration and taking out Anthony Green, tagging him, keeps the storyline or the growth of Trey going, but also the storyline of Trey and Black Taurus. And also, I think it sets up Anthony Green for a match down the road with Trey. So
he could be on some shit to where like his first few matches are against like top talent, and it's not that he wins, it's just how he looks during these losses, and
yeah. There's not, and that's the thing is when I ask people, my first thing is when someone says, and it's not like do you watch it? It has nothing to do with that. There's a lot. You can follow the show. You can watch the clips. You can watch the results, or you can look at the spoilers. You don't know unless you watch the show for context and tempo and how things are done. Sometimes the story is in how, not what. So, and then I think this is one of those cases. But I like to hear. I love Trey, man. We talked about this before. I just think that he needed that next level, and this is that next level. This is his jump. So dig it. But see you guys saying some great stuff there. I don't want to forget on you, but just because I have a friend here in the house. Masalko saying Green is fine. He needs something to make him stand out. Yeah, he's got a little Bailey Young Buck vibe to him, Generation Me vibe to him. He just needs to find something. And Impact, once again, I can't say it enough, will find something for everyone. What it is, who knows, but... And then Critical Stink saying the stipulation says falls count anywhere in Atlanta. Where does the match end? It's an interesting take. It's interesting. But speaking of traveling,
what?
Kenny King is in Montreal, and he is beating the shit out of all of Bailey's students.
Rude chick and the dude.
Shout out to Chick, by the way.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, you guys could say it's a beautiful woman. And dude that got his ass kicked last, who accidentally power slammed her by that dude's got a presence. That's a big that's a big dude.
Yeah.
I hope Bailey's trains him right, because that would be a pretty damn cool thing. Oh, Kenny obsessed King. I thought never mind. Thought you were joking, the big dude. Gotcha, man. I like this stuff. I anything Kenny does up with a spoon, but this is yet again I don't want to say it, but a mid-card X Division rivalry. There's no upper. Well, of course.
That makes it feel better.
Sure. Whatever works for you guys. The same with Rich and Macklin. It's an upper whatever. It's not, that's why I hate using the word, but this leads what good shit, man. And then that plant sign he rips up, man. But this leads to Gia getting a quick word with Bailey, who threatens a pit fight, which, Lucha, I don't know about you, I want to get your take, but I'm not a big fan of anything that's not wrestling and wrestling. Like, when Kurt and Joe did all the UFC, it's not my thing. Just saw low-tiered Jeff. But your thoughts on this? This is happening on the 19th, the 19th of Impact, so of January. Thoughts on it?
I will be in the house for that, so yay.
Oh,
me.
right. Okay, so it's a taped one. It hasn't happened yet. It's going to be a Fallout. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those that, like, after I see it, I'm going to have to be tight-lipped till Thursday, because...
Spoiler-free.
I feel it. Spoiler-free since 83. We need that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, right.
I'm cool with them, because, like, in the case of Joe and Kurt, when they did it, like, how they booked it up on the way, it made it feel like more...
Maybe that was a poor example of them.
Legitimate.
The Jeff thing, Jeff was doing them. Jeff was doing them.
Jeff was doing them, but they were supposed to be bad.
Yeah,
they were supposed to be.
That's fair. I don't know. I like wrestling and wrestling, but overall, I guess it looks like it's going to culminate on the 19th, and you get to see it. So, but I'm excited that you get to see it, man, in person. So we'll see what happens. And I thought this was going to be one of those things like where maybe they taped it pre-taped, and that's why
I'm thinking that too. I just had that thought, but I'm pretty sure that shit is announced for the taping.
Okay.
Like I think I saw that. I'll look at the tweet.
Let's get some. Where's our fact checkers? Our resident fact checkers in there.
Show ass in here.
But next up is something I was talking about earlier that I was giddy about. I just can't hide my excitement, man. Jonathan Gresham defeating MVP's son here, I think, ERA. That was his shtick, ERA. Kind of dig.
I hate it.
It made me pop. In a funny way. It felt like the characters that would be on Fox Sports Net TNA. So I was like, oh, ERA, I like this
All
shit,
you were
man.
missing was the Fox box up top.
Yeah. ERA versus Tyler Black. All right. So Gresham picking up the win here, and this is, look, I don't know your guys' vibe. I know we got some young cats that watch this show as well. But for me, I think this dude's floor is Dean Malenko, and that's the ultimate praise I could give someone. I love Dean Malenko. I think if Impact gets a little flavor on Jonathan Gresham, it's only sky's the limit, man. But this dude is slow jazz, man, and I love slow jazz. I eat it with the same spoon, man, that I eat Kenny King's promos with. Something about his work that just is such a tempo and mood changer that it's a palate cleanser. It throws you back to a time, but it also is showy and dig it.
He rolls joints in a way that makes me jealous.
Imagine you were the octopus. You know how many joints you can...
Man, I bet he rolls on a hell of a joint. I have to ask him.
Oh man, but yeah, and they're gonna show him off here, which I dig. They let him, showcase what he does. We get to see more of that Hard to Kill versus Eddie Edwards, and it's just another blessing to have this dude here. So
much blessings.
Blessings. Count your blessings. Tasha and Savannah are back there, and they're not getting along still. Still not on the right page because they're picking up the L's. But we get a literal mood and tempo changer here, and when the music hits with Giselle and Jay walking in and actually making a good point. First, I thought this was just going to be strictly comedy. I thought, oh, they're going to say, no, you're the killer of whatever. And of course they say that because it's the truth.
Yeah.
But they made the point. You were one person down. Now you could be one person up. And I like that for different reasons because not only does it change the match, so now it's Freebird. It's 3-on-3 for the tag team titles. On the pre. So Giselle.
That I didn't know.
Yes. So not only does that make this a little bit more interesting for me, I don't know who wins. We could talk about that in a little bit. But I feel like, and I know I keep saying this, but we're on the precipice of what we wanted. When you add Giselle to, you make that 3 people instead of, so there's just so many ways this can go, and I hope this is the start of whatever that is. But unless you got something to go on this, I'll roll it in with the design, which is next, which I will say was a focused promo. It was a focused promo. And they said that I guess Sammy may be able to join if he shaves his head next week. So do you get to see that? No, you don't get to see that because that airs this week. So thoughts on the design and this thing with Sammy as a whole. We haven't really obviously got to touch on that in person, but...
Oh, man, it just seems like a trap.
So, are you digging it, though? Are you feeling more upbeat about this group and where they're headed? I mean, they're really trying here. Giving up Sammy's hair, possibly. The trap aspect is something you could think of, but... what makes a good stable or makes anything really in wrestling is like who are you fighting? So they're gonna have to start fighting some people, and if cause see, I'm wearing Violent by Design. I rep the OGs, but like right there, where's this under the V?
right there in my stomach. I feel like after Hard to Kill, we're gonna have an idea on who they're fighting as far as Sammy goes.
Okay.
And then it just might be, versus
Everything.
Everything.
I'm cool with it, man. I feel like Hard to Kill could be a turning point where a lot of things, the next set of tapings really is, or the next set of stuff that happens. Giselle's going to cause Tasha and Savannah to break up. That's what Io says.
Well, I had that thought too, but then Tasha recrossed the line, and I'm sure Savannah's still on the line for a little bit, so I doubt either one are going, and I don't think we're at that point where we break them up yet, especially.
See what happens.
They've been to me. They've been looking strong while still taking these L's.
I agree with you,
because they'll lose to them as a team, but then fight them like 1-on-1. There'll be some combination, and then get a dub and be right back in the conversation. It's like what? So,
yeah, I'm not really too worried on them. I hope that's not the case because even though I think both can do great shit on their own, we'll see. I just think they have some. Come on, man. Let's keep some teams together. But I will say,
idea.
What's up?
Giselle gets the pin at Hard to Kill, and then she ends up making her and Jay the champs, and then their first feud is against
Tasha and Savannah.
Yeah, and then maybe that's how they get them, and then maybe they can fight Death Dolls after they get them, and then they beat them then or some shit.
I've been thinking about that. Because I know I mentioned that before, and you said a lot of people might, okay, whatever. Because my thing is always we got to erase Eric Young and ODB. But at the time, it was because that was treated as a joke. It wasn't treated as there was no big, deep thing to it. And then they kept him forever, not because of how much they defended, but how little. It wasn't like a thing. And I love both ODB and Eric Young. It's more of a stain than it is a feat. So with Jay and Giselle, though, in the storyline, that makes sense. I see something like that does make sense. But let's also not write out one of them getting a tag team partner or stealing a tag team partner. Maybe Giselle steals Savannah. I don't know. Maybe there's stuff to play with here. But either way, just keep giving us more, please. Team Savannah with Giselle and Jay. I knew I thought about it somewhere. It's all good. Look, the thing I will say about the design is I want them, yes, when they're focused and they're figuring out who they are and whatever, it works, I think. But I found out that, Diener is a motivational speaker starting a career outside of this in motivational speaking. And it made me think, I know we already have like Joe Hendry, who's that kind of cheesy version of motivational speaker. Maybe that's where we can, I'm not saying that he has to, right to censor motivate, they weren't motivational, but there's got to be something in there where it's just him turned up. It doesn't have to be him playing a character, just him turned up,
That's basically what EY was, but instead, because EY was kind of spitting some bars, you know, on a couple of these promos, but then a lot of the promos also sound the same. So it was like, you heard them one, you heard them all.
Oh, seeing a Critical Sting saying, looking at the graphic, it isn't for the titles. And then 6-woman tag.
That shit is lame. That shit is lame.
All right. Well, we'll see what comes of it. Just interesting. I thought it was for the titles. If my graphics friggin' worked, we would know. But next up, we're going to get a package of Josh's reign, which I thought was nice. Josh wasn't supposed to be on the show, and he wasn't. Unlike Bully, who wasn't supposed to be on the show and was. But Josh's package really put over his reign. 9th Triple Crown champion in all of history of Impact Wrestling. That's pretty cool, man. I didn't know that. So pretty cool there to put over Josh. And then we follow this up with Moose, and he's a scumbag. Yes, he's a scumbag. And he is challenging Joe Hendry for the TMC, or he's making the challenge for... Wait, did Joe challenge him first, right?
Joe challenged him first.
On the review, and then, yes, or the award show, and then, yeah. So he accepts. Moose learns, I love this part, that all he knew that, well, I won't jump too far. Moose knew that all he had to do was say his name and he would appear. I like that because the crowd knew it as well. It's one of those things that works. To have something else that works is cool. Like, you hear Decay Scream originally with the hamp. Like people look forward to little things. It's the little big things when you're putting on a show, and this is one of those that's cool. Because I always look at it, because I'm a fan of Joe Hendry, you are as well, but it was the initial low budget. Well, okay, maybe not the same level, but
I'm here for it.
Okay.
I'm here for it.
So here's where my approach is now is I still, even though I like where he is, I still go with one eye open. And it's because I think it's hard when you're a face trying to be funny. There's a thin line between getting over and being cringe. This fortunately worked. And it worked because Dancing Moose is, that's, hey, who doesn't love a dancing moose? I get it. But because the crowd as well. And that's the biggest thing. And even Hendry was like, oh, you could see he was like, oh yeah, of course you'd like it. But at first I think he was taken back because his shit's getting over. Whatever he does is getting over. And what that says to me is that these are people going to the shows knowing what Joe Hendry's about, which means they know what Impact's about. It's a good sign, Lucha. It's a good sign. Like him or not, whatever. But it was funny, and then it ended with Play His Music, and then Dancing Moose played, which was perfect cherry on top of.
Yeah, I like that. And as far as Joe Hendry getting over it was kind of sort of how Heath was for a second, like during the summer or like the fall. Like it was a moment where like all Heath would do was come in, hit the move, and dip out, go in the crowd, and you would have thought DDP was in the crowd after he hit a diamond cutter.
Right.
Like, I mean, of course, not to that level.
No, but the same thing. It's that crowd knew they were looking forward to something happening, and it did. And that can happen at least once a show, and it's not the result of a W or L or a championship swing or something. It's a good sign, and this is one of those positive things. Speaking of positives, man, and let's call it space, but it's not the same production team. Yeah, Dave's in the truck, but the people making the video packages today for Impact are not the same ones that used to ball out in TNA time. Those people moved on, most of them, to AEW. But the level of these back-to-back packages for Mickey's retrospective, which was phenomenal, and then right into Don and Don West tribute, you got to give it up for them, man. Two very well done things, especially coming right after a promo, right after a video package as well. Yes, there was two backstage segments. I wasn't bored, man. I loved the Mickey thing. I thought that was done beautifully. It had different levels to it, so it felt like a mini documentary. And then the Don West tribute was what you would want. So you get some names come back, you get some people show love, and that's all that matters. So two back-to-back things, man. Your thoughts on those two?
That shows me that one or two things, or maybe both. A, they taped a gang of matches at these tapings, and B, they know how to like stretch some shit out and get the most out of them. Because like this probably was like a 2-day taping or some bullshit. Yeah, we've gotten like almost a month and a half off of TV off of this.
It's really, look, when you're, I don't know if you want to say saving a buck or it's just where they're at right now. They do a really good job. What that says, and there was, and I know it's simple little big things, but there was a time where some of this shit didn't make sense week to week. I mean, it wasn't that too long ago. So for stuff to be so planned out a month ahead is like, but obviously there is a plan, and that's why the thing going back to Masha makes my sirens go, because they have a plan for everything for the most part. Even sometimes when we're like, and you could tell when plans change and stuff. Don't always agree with the booking of some things, but the fact that they have consistent idea and timeline and what they're doing is a good sign for Impact as well. It's not last minute craziness.
Yeah, they're committed.
Committed, yep. Committed to the idea. And then Matt Cardona here. There was a graphic before all this, and I didn't get to it. But Hot Ones, which is a very good brand, I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's obviously an online success, and then it moved on to being, I think you could stream on Hulu and different places. It's just a dude who interviews celebrities eating hot wings in all different flavors, right? And it's too hot, it's not, whatever. But it is a marketable brand, and it is now on Access TV. It's interesting because what that says to me is they're buying ads in places. They're starting to rev up and buying brands for Access TV. They're making moves, man. They're not sitting on their hands. I know that seems like a little, they just got some content on their channel. Yeah, but it's not another Countdown 80 show or something or music from, whatever, which some things are good, but when that's all your channel is. So to see them making moves like this is good stuff. We need hot ones interviewing Sue Young.
Oh man, those shows, those videos, because I watched them on YouTube, and like Facebook and all that shit. Those things do numbers.
Yes, yeah.
So
and that's the thing, even the old ones, because they're Treehouse favorites also, but and for a laugh. So I'm not saying it's oh my god they just got boom. But that is a good sign for people who want to see that they're making moves and they're not just sitting there. It's another one. And Before the Bell also coming back, which is awesome.
Love it.
But let's keep this going because next up is the main event. Matt Cardona taking the L against Chris Sabin in a hard-fought victory, man. Really cool because as the announcer said during it, Tom and Matt, two parallel careers. I won't say parallel as far as everything that's happened in them, but as far as timing and the level of success they've had and different companies, and then now in 2023 wrestling probably was their first time is just Cardona and Sabin. I don't know if one-on-one that's happened before, but
I don't think so. I can't imagine a realm where it did.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. It's one of those cool things. Same with Shelley and him the previous week. But Sabin picking up the win here, and nice Dolphins reference by Tom, which was funny. But yeah, man, that was a good main event. Kept the tag team eliminator, which we'll talk about in just a second, on the tip of our tongue, which I dig. And then we have an organic transition here, and I love these. I know it's so silly. Maybe no one even catches this stupid shit or wonders why I even give a shit. There was times where we couldn't go to the commentating booth. There were times where they didn't even film it in person. There were a lot of things.
That green screen shit.
Right. So for them to go to the match that just happened, to them, for them to start plugging stuff, and then Bully interrupts. That's smooth. We can handle live TV shit. Maybe not, but that's a step. That's
live to tape.
Live to tape for sure. For sure.
5-10 minute delay.
You got to start somewhere. But Bully comes out, and Bully's being Bully. And then Scott D'Amore's going to get in here, who was what is that? An almost ranker, we'll call it. Coming out here. And, this was long-winded, but it set the tone. This is what I made a reference to last week about Botchamania, because that table was supposed to be on fire. If you watch it, it doesn't go off, but they edit beautifally.
That's why I couldn't tell.
I could not tell. I was looking because I said last week I catch my AEW, I catch up on AEW on Botchamania, and I was one was Impact, and it was the Good Hands doing all that stuff, and I was like, whoa, because I wasn't sure if Bully and the Good Hands were together. It was a one-time thing. If the Good Hands were hired hands, Bully Joel couldn't start the fire. That's good shit. But yeah, man, love this segment, and I think it just solidifies where we're headed within our Canadian friends here, with our Canadian friends.
What did I tell you was gonna happen at Rebellion?
Team Canada?
No, not only that, the match.
Oh, is it Lethal Lockdown? No,
not even that.
I don't know. Tell me, what was it?
Bully Ray versus Scott D'Amore.
Oh, right.
It's happening.
Oh,
I firmly believe it.
That makes sense. And I was trying to rack my brain. Well, we'll talk about that. This was the way to wrap up Scott off TV. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I don't know what's going on, if there's anything on that front as far as why they would, unless it's to wrap him up because an I'm back I'm back. Would a Bischoff, is he coming to Hard to Kill?
I don't know. He's doing 83 weeks.
Yeah, he's doing 83
That's all
weeks,
I know.
but who knows? If it is, I will also make the point, and I'll get back to mine in just a second, but I wanted to was racking my brain a way they can have Bully lose and then still have something relevant. Him versus Scott makes sense. But also, isn't it interesting that the last 3 people they've written off on television, besides Frankie Kazarian, are Chelsea Green, Eric Young, and Scott D'Amore? I'm not saying anything. That's really interesting. Could just be people who are leaving. But as far as writing off, like actually having a you are off television thing. Interesting.
Hey, you calm down with that brain of yours over there, sir. You're thinking a little dangerously.
Well, let's get into oh god, Santino, maybe that is possible as well. But let's talk about.
Isn't he Canadian too?
He is, yeah. Well, not Santino. Santino's Italian. He's from Milan, but the guy who plays him is Canadian. Yes. Let's do the poll results real quick. I didn't get him, man. I skipped Tommy. What happened with Tommy?
What happened with Tommy?
Skip Tommy.
Tommy dreamed.
Oh, as far as who would be next in the GM role?
Oh, didn't Tommy get taken out?
Oh yeah, he did get written off. I did skip
Bully
Tommy.
fucked him up
Okay,
too.
fair enough. Conspiracy
Last week.
debunked. Yeah. He'll be back. He can't stay away that long.
It's Tommy.
Lucha, you got it, man. But the poll results. I think everyone it was. Oh, you got him. Lay him on us. Thank you to Io, by the way.
Shout out to Io as always. All right, y'all. I mean, the people seem to be pretty positive about the show. You know, we had 65% with A. 30% voted B. I voted A personally. I thought it was a good, development show. Excuse me, not developmental.
I'm not laughing at you. Io said the good hands are the bootleg heel version of APA. Sorry.
No, well, yeah.
We don't know yet, but maybe.
If the APA and Hawkins and Ryder and when they were lined up with Edge had a baby.
Right.
3% C, and then there was only 2% little D energy.
One little D. All right. Well, I agree. I'm with an AA minus there. I thought it was good, but there was a lot of segments, but a lot of them hit the spot, man. A lot of those packages and stuff. So I love the progression. We know what we're getting. We're on the road to Hard to Kill. So let's not waste any time, man, because we have a lot to talk about there. A lot of questions I want to ask you about things that, because there's not too much news, but there's things outside of it that I want to hit on really quick and then get to Mercedes and then TNA stuff that I talked about. But first, and Hard to Kill predictions, we'll run through them quick. But first, Vince is back. And the reason I mentioned that, I just want to know, I know you mentioned it as well we wrote each other about it. What's spinning on the effect it has on Impact? I said about a year ago that I thought that they were setting up, once again, Nick Khan, Dwayne Johnson, good friends since from youth. Nick Khan obviously was running WWE or is still part of that. And Rock is good friends with Jeff Bezos. I think Amazon is the number one to beat here. But it looks like he's coming back and pushing his way so he can organize that sale. I don't want to jump too far ahead. There's other names in rumor, NBC Universal, which makes a lot of sense. Disney, I just don't see that being the case, especially if they're trying to run it private after this. So your thoughts are really, really quick because we have so much to get to. But just really quick as far as Vince being back, I don't think that's a deal because I don't think we'll see him. But as far as the sale, how does that affect anything and your thoughts on it in general?
I don't think it affects anything. I'm not on this team. Vince is evil for this. I believe he's in full right to do exactly what he's doing because it's his company. You know what I'm saying? He didn't sell the company. He just retired. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Retiring from it doesn't mean you don't own it anymore. Bro, this is still mine. His
name's still on is on the lease. Yeah. Man. Well, I don't think they have a lease.
So this the whole fake, in my opinion, outrage of people are worried, Vince coming back. Like, bro, y'all just had to know that he won't go. You had to know. He still owned it. Yeah. The only reason why he's coming back, basically, for me, is so he can sell it.
Yeah. That's all it is. And I think what it changed is, look for in the short term, if you guys are outraged that he might appear on TV. I don't think that is, and if he does,
well, he will appear on TV. I think he will to do pretty much the same thing he did when he left.
Oh no, I
agree. Come in to be like then now together forever,
right?
And then leave and sell the company 3 days.
No, he'll swing his dick. He'll still do that. I'm just saying that I don't think this is about him being. He doesn't want to be on. Like that's not the reason. The reason isn't to be on TV. The reason isn't to change the booking. The reason is, you know what? Maybe this is pretty chill. I'm pretty not. I want that next step. He's always been looking for that next thing. If it was the XFL, if it was the bodybuilding, if it was anything, he's all politics. He's always looking for something else anyway. So, to him to have that little break and then say, "Well, if someone's gonna sell my," he NWO'd that shit. If anyone's gonna inject lethal and poison into my company, yeah. No, I think look, it's him saying, "Look, I'm going out the way I want to go out," and that's all it is. More power to him. Move on and whatever. God bless. Speaking of so potential sell there. Once again, I don't think it affects Impact whatsoever. Besides maybe the possible working relationships, depending on who buys. We'll see who buys. Well, I'm just saying that because if I'm the NBA, I'm not going to go loan out LeBron James to EuroLeague. Not going to happen. So I don't know if they'll let Nakamura go to Noah. They're not. I just don't see. I don't know about that. But next is
I don't think whoever owns it will be that involved. Honestly,
I don't think they'll be involved in the day to day. They'll have someone that sends down if it's a takeover, especially if it's a bigger like a Netflix, Amazon, something like that. Bezos isn't running the day to day. They're not doing anything like that. What they'll have is Paul or Triple H will still get a go. I imagine as chief operating officer along with Stephanie. And have a contract for a certain amount of years, but they will have things that say, hey, you can't do business with X, Y, and Z. There's going to be limitations. It doesn't make sense for them to loan out their brand and their players to other companies with nothing return on their investment. Depending on how...
I feel like it is because at the end of the day, no matter what, it's like, it's still gonna be, WWE because like there's a whole faction of people who will only fuck with Impact, bro. You know what I'm saying? So then
you're talking wrestling.
I'm talking money.
Nah. The money that it would take a Netflix, Amazon, Disney, any one of those to say, yes, I will risk one of my contract employees going over and getting hurt or bumping up another company. Not going to happen. Not when they're that big. Now, I agree with you, and I believe that it could small term. It's not going to long term, and that's the way these big conglomerates think. Man, they don't give a shit.
I don't think they'll care enough to even put the restriction on it because I know regardless of who buys it at the end of the day, it's still going to be the same. For the most part, the same people making the same decisions.
Yeah, but
plus or minus.
If I go in a company and I'm like, oh, this is running well, you don't think I'm gonna look at how it's running or whatever and change some things because I own it now? Nah, it's gonna happen, man. I don't know if that's it, but we'll see.
If doing that doesn't, if they legit are looking at that and it's like, well, doing that, loaning people out isn't bringing us money, it's losing us money, then yeah, okay, maybe. I don't think they'll care enough. I don't think that's even a fucking dent in their shit.
All right, we'll see. I mean, I just don't see you got to think about what's the positive for them. There isn't any.
What's the positive in you buying a wrestling company?
The money, but never mind. All right, let's move on to something that is actually ending and not continuing through somebody's ownership. But New Japan Strong looks to be done, and it's wrapped up. What that means, Tanahashi putting that out, what it looks like, and I'm not big on numbers. I don't know if, or not big on numbers. I'm not big on their numbers. I don't know if they're selling out places. I don't know what they're doing. But for sake of the argument of time, we'll say it means one or two things. It means one, they weren't doing the numbers they wanted, or two, they have something different in the United States coming into play. So, your quick thoughts on, because we have a lot to hit here and a little time, your thoughts on New Japan Strong ending, and do you think this necessarily means a partnership where their talents will be routinely used? Is that an ROH? Is that an Impact Wrestling? What's the why? Why do you think?
Well, I mean, it's not on some, we tried in America and it failed, so we're dipping out. It's not on that because you can't say that and also say Kyrie Sane and Mercedes are fighting in San Jose, California next month. So, that's not a match you book when you're trying to not still move in North America.
Fair.
So, maybe they'll still do shows out here, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not that weekly joint will continue because they'll just nope, I'm not going to use that terminology. They'll just send New Japan to everywhere else.
But that's my thing, is if we can't say that it is finances that are the reason they're stripping this away, and it's making them money and success, why are they stopped doing? There has to be something. So either it's not doing well.
Their investment on doing these shows, the New Japan Strong shows over here, as far as like tapings,
they're not getting a return on their investment.
You think like that?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So it either has to be one or two things. It either has to be they have a completely different vision because of something they've partnered with in the States, or it wasn't doing well. And I thought there was some hype behind it. I thought it did well. I thought people pay attention to it. Maybe it's a Twitter thing. I don't know. I'm not. I can't see that. ROI wasn't there. Late on me. I'm old. What does that mean? ROH?
ROI? I don't know.
Well, either way, something, guys, to keep a note on. Maybe it's not the case at all. Strong having their shows in the same venue in LA. Okay, so maybe return of investment. Oh yeah, duh. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So maybe that's what it is. Which it sucks that that's the case. But for for Impact,
because it was basically. Like, if you kind of sort of look at it, it was kind of sort of like NXT to the point where it was based, but they were out in LA, so, most of the shows were at the LA dojo, right?
Yeah.
So then most of the cats that were working in those were probably like dojo cats.
Well, I just said the New Japan president teased plans for New Japan Strong just recent on Twitter. Well, we'll see. Just something to keep your guys' ears out for. And don't want anything to fail whatsoever, but I just think it's more interesting to play on the idea of if that does open up, they're going to be looking, as Lucha said, to be working with more entities in the United States and still keeping them featured. Obviously, still having Kyrie and Mercedes going on later in California. So it should be interesting. Should be really interesting. You never know where Impact can partner up. Maybe it'll eventually be on an app somewhere, kind of like the Ric Flair one was randomly partnered up in there.
That wasn't random for me. That to me, I was like, damn, what took y'all so long?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I just didn't know they had the ability to do that. That's pretty damn cool.
They used our cameras. The hell?
Oh, I didn't know it was.
Remember,
like that.
Yeah, Impact pretty much did most of like production on that end, as far as that show goes.
Why would you pick Impact? No, no.
Why not?
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. I didn't know it was that deep. Yeah, so maybe the Conrad stuff isn't deeper. They're just being nice to each other. But either way, I think that's pretty cool that it's on there. I don't know if I'll have the nuts to watch the Ric Flair match, but I know the rest of the card is banging.
Watch every match, and then once you see Ric Flair and Jeff Jarrett and them come out, all right, that's it.
Just see the entrances. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, just see the entrances and maybe fast forward to the fake heart attack.
I have a quick. I have two things I talked about last week that I want to get your quick opinion on, and I have a quick rebuttal on what someone said. And then we're going to do the predictions really quick. So first, let's start with TNA. Because I made a whole thing, I don't know if you got to see it, but I talked about the market is going to go heavy nostalgia-based and everything, even outside of wrestling. I'm not even talking about wrestling. I'm talking about the market in general when it comes to products and television and all that jazz. So after a 5-year period of rehabilitating the trust within the product and the viewers, which I think they've done a good job with, we're in a good place. We're not, obviously we want to kick in another gear, but they've rebuilt that trust in the product. They let TNA kind of rest and just build the nostalgia, right? I think it's time because it's not about turning old fans back. I think that's a possibility. I think the sheep, once you say, oh, TNA's back, maybe they'll laugh. Who knows? Oh, you'll have a few, but they would have done that anyways. Even if Impact shit gold as Impact, it doesn't matter what they would do as TNA.
We had Kenny Omega on Impact, and they were still shitting on that. So
beautiful example. Never even making the power rankings. No, he did.
Right. A couple times, and then when he did, people were like, "Oh, boo!" And it's like, "What? He's the champ."
Well, what I'm getting at is that we know the TNA chants they're infectious. No matter what. And someone had made the comparison on there that WWE is going nostalgia based for years and it's not working. Why would it work different for TNA? And I'm going to tell you this. WWE does use it in small periods, and it does work very well, actually. But the reason it works in small doses is because those guys can't play anymore. Just like, yes, the AJs, the Broods, all of them are elsewhere. Angle, Sting, they're all elsewhere or past their... We get that. But this isn't WWE going back and using a Goldberg or whatever. This is a Charlotte Bobcats turning into the Charlotte Hornets. That's what TNA going back to TNA is. It's taking back and rebranding and taking the hotter, more built-up legacy and putting that in the forefront. And getting some people who are already in the fan base to spend some money, but also those people who chant TNA when Jeff Jarrett comes out or Bobby Roode's facing off in AJ Styles in WWE. There's still a market for that. They don't think AJ and Bobby are walking through that door tomorrow. But the lineage is there, and that money's there. And the TNA letters and the chant just mean something, and it's deeper. Look, I'm sorry. ECW gets chanted when Scott D'Amore mentioned that Tommy Dreamer's in a hospital, and Bully put him there. That's... So you don't think... Come on. And that's all I'm saying is, look, we have the relationship back. We've built a trust with the audience. Now let's put that motherfucker on fire, because right now we're plateauing. Because no one's going to jump on this Impact bandwagon and push it to the stratosphere. I think TNA is the only way to go. And that's my point on it. But you're nodding. I know how you feel. We talk about this. But let the people know. What's your thoughts, man?
Man, this is about to be the first ever YouTube short for the channel because you just spoke so much truth. Everything you said, you know what I'm saying? I'm with you. There was a point to where I was like, nah, let it go. You know what I'm saying? Let the TNA go. But everything you just said, like TNA is, and plus TNA is everywhere.
Everywhere.
TNA is everywhere
It's
on
everywhere.
everybody's TV.
Yep.
Like as far as wrestling goes, like you can't escape TNA.
They'll start. Look, they're gonna start up the LOL TNA stuff no matter what.
They still do it. So
and look, I just said, who cares?
Not to you.
It doesn't. Yes, it doesn't matter. Screw them. They're gonna hate on us no matter if we bring Kenny Omega in here or if Mercedes comes in here with Naomi and Bailey. It does not matter, bro. If you do, I just said, bro, but the New Yorkers come on. If you watch Impact, that's all that matters. Fuck what people that watch Impact. You're not gonna win those people over, man. You're just not. They're gonna find something wrong all the time. They're gonna say, "Oh, I would if they did this." They always move the goalpost. So just rock with it, man. And I think, bro,
if you move the goalpost, just keeps going anyway.
I just think, and you guys say is the pop for ECW, the letters, the people who made ECW. I don't think, hey, look, I love Tommy and Bully. Yes, they made ECW, but it's just the chant at this point. It's mind recognition to say, oh, Tommy, ECW, ECW. That's all it is.
Anybody ECW.
There's kids
anytime
chanting
they're in
ECW.
Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's... And plus, like, the people who chant TNA, they people miss TNA. Like,
They do.
They miss it.
They do. And here
I miss it.
It is the alternative. And if that's the brand, alternative, Anthony Green. If you're trying to make that's what this is going to be, and that's what this feels like, and this is what they're accepting. TNA is an eye-rolling name to anyone who's not already aware of it. Bro, TNA is not, this isn't 2008. No one's saying, oh, TNA tits and ass. That's not, like, I'm talking about, we have shit on television that is far worse and far more blunt. The letters TNA aren't what people are giggling about. I just don't find that rhetoric. I feel like it's a lot of old heads like me that are still in that narrative that, oh, they're going to joke us. Oh, it's the LOL TNA. Oh, the name means tits and ass. It doesn't. It's TNA wrestling and it sells damn merch. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. I get it. And I know we all have kind of beaten partner syndrome when it comes to this a little bit. I just don't think we should.
Yeah, I mean, like, my example that I always go to that proves that just they're not gonna, no matter what we do, and that's we brought Kenny Omega in, and then we had Kenny Omega and Jay White in the same ring at the same time
Yep.
on multiple occasions, and still getting shat on.
Bro, they'll keep moving the
Still.
goalpost.
They will. Like, I'm telling you, Hard to Kill, legit, Mercedes Moné, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles,
Yeah.
and fucking Tupac could all come out. And they'll still be like, oh, they got these old, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Sasha Bocce, oh, AJ over the hill, he hurt anyway.
It just
Tupac dead.
Bro, it's just funny that we've come to a place in society. We got to move on to Mercedes. Speaking of her, a place in society where we follow and reward the people who hate. Oh yeah, TNA does suck. Impact suck. Why do you guys laugh at those people? Those people are sad. That's sad, man. If your life, you wake up and you eat hate, don't worry about it, man. They're going to be hating until they're 90-something years. Well, they'll probably not live till 90. But you know what I mean. Come on. Preach love. But speaking of love, Mercedes debuted at Wrestle Kingdom. I think she still appears. I think it's a swerve as Saraya's partner. And I still think she shows up at Hard to Kill right after Mickey wins the title. I think the booking of Masha's leaned me even further in this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just the hopeful optimistic here. But I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again and then pass it to you. I just think she's the Cody. She has that mindset. And I'm talking Cody Rhodes, which is I'm going to pop up as many places as I can because the legacy of what I do is more important than signing one contract and staying at one place and not having the freedom of being the star that I am. And she's seen too many of her friends get locked into contracts after having freedom and then not working out for them. I think she shows up at Hard to Kill.
I mean, I'm right there with you because when I sent you the joint that started this whole thing, where
Yes.
I was at 2%. I was just stabbing the dark.
52%.
And then you kind of leaned into it a little bit and laid your side out on it, and I'm like, okay, so maybe this is. So you brought me up to like a 25.
Oh, hey, that's a lot for you.
You brought me from 2 to 25.
That's a lot of optimism.
She brought me from 25 to 55. So because she did say on the post-show scrum,
Yep.
This is the first stop on the world tour. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna hit. I feel like she's gonna hit all the spots.
She is.
She's gonna be with us, but it's not like she's gonna be with us forever. It's gonna be like the Mia Yim deal, if maybe a little bit longer.
Here's the way I look at this: is she wants to freelance. I see people saying that in there as well. I just think that's the truth. I think she's gonna pull a Cody. She's gonna show up everywhere. She's gonna be Saraya's partner because someone's gonna get taken out, however that works, whatever the booking over there is. Or you can also think about like this, but I don't want to think negative. I hope AEW gets a taste too. Good for them. But it could possibly be also we're announcing it's not her because I'm upset she won't sign an exclusive contract. So it's a possibility. We know him. But let's say for the wishing into existence, I just think she hits every spot. I've been saying, and I just, and until you popped up that idea, I just didn't think it was possible. Not only because we're not on that cusp yet. We're on the cusp, but we're not where we should be, right, as far as rebranding and all that stuff. But I just think, yeah, man, Mickey versus Mercedes, first time ever. Yeah, I just think that
where were we when we signed Kurt?
What's that?
Where were we? Like, where were we as far as like status when Kurt came?
Man, we were.
Or Sting,
Kurt,
whoever got us the TV deal. I think it was Sting who got us that deal, or Christian Cage.
No, a Christian was well. I think there was a lot of momentum there, man. Kurt was the first one where you're like, I had friends that was like, hey, gee, that TNA stuff, we gonna watch the pay-per-view? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I knew it. Gotcha. A lot of my true wrestling friends, like the ones that were actually in wrestling, like in high school and stuff, that turned them because Kurt was legit. But then, Christian was that little, like the match that I think put us on that next level. But yeah, man, I just think this is one of those moments. Yeah, whatever we want to say, I think this is one of those moments where we're going to luck out because it has nothing to do with Impact besides the fact that they spent the past 5 years getting us to this point where someone like her could come in and say, hey, what's going on? Hey, thank you, Boss 1291. Man, that's pretty cool. Thanks for showing up.
Love you.
Yeah, I just think this is one of those things where Impact got us to a point where now these people can say confidently, hey, I'm going to Impact. And if there's any hate, they're going to say, you think she's going to say, oh, yeah, you're right, I don't want to be on it? No, she don't give a shit what people think. She's obviously doesn't care. So I just think this is one of the things that, man, that be
Look,
hey, thanks, Io. Good shout out, Io.
Everybody just remember this. When Don and Scott came in, what they say, 5-year plan, right? 5 years was last year.
Hey, that's without a pandemic still.
But even still during the pandemic for where they went, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
During the pandemic?
Yeah.
Like, during the pandemic, they lost and then they signed the Good Brothers.
And Deanna.
Good Brothers ain't cheap, bro.
No, they spend some cash. And I'm happy that they're spending the cash locking up the people that got us to the dance. You know, once again, everyone could talk about the turnover, but we have 78% that's been here rocking with us for past 2+ years. So there's there's people that come in and out, but I just maybe she is one of them. But here's my point was this is that Year 3 fired Don. Well, we won't touch on that.
Maybe that was a part of the plan.
Won't touch on that. Why would you, the thing I wanted to say with Mercedes though is shout out to the Impact team that did get us to this point where she would even take a glance. Good Brothers, Deanna, who did all that for us as well, that put in that Masha and everyone else that's jumped on board.
Cardona.
Yeah, there's been a lot of names that have really ate it and just said, yeah, I don't give a shit what you people say. I'm still Impact's cool, the lineage is cool. I'm gonna rock with them. But I'm not gonna jump too far ahead. Let's see if she shows up. But I think that there's a possibility.
Just make sure you have the graphic ready.
I think we should have the graphic ready, and I think I know we have one ready, but I think also.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. I think I gave it to Mike G actually, or Io did. Her. I just think when she looks at the landscape of this, and this isn't me. I mean, maybe this is me being a homer. I just seeing the way if she goes about this the way I thought she would, which is the Cody thing, right? If she's that kind of person, I can't see her looking at the landscape of women's wrestling, looking around her and saying, yeah, I'm done with Impact. I think as soon as I can wrap up with them, I'm done. Unless it's a money thing. And I just don't see that happening though. All right. I know someone in there said 2 years of freelance. Hey, if she's in 2 years in Impact, more power to us. But let's talk about Hard to Kill because my motto here, man, or my mantra here, if Impact's 86 minutes, we cannot be more than 86 minutes. Now, maybe Hard to Kill and next week we might be a little bit over, but let's try to stick to that. And we do have to get through the rundown of Hard to Kill itself. So let's start out. We already talked about the X Division Showcase. We talked about Angels and Kushida and Bailey and Jackson and Yumura and Gujar. Prediction? You got a prediction on that? Let's try to hit all the predictions on these.
I'm gonna rock with Sheik Rollins. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Speedball doesn't need the dub. He's got his whole thing with Kenny. Mike's just there chilling. Yuya still the young boy. And who's the other guy in the match?
Kushida and Angels.
And yeah, Angels is a part of a bigger design. And who knows? Bullet Club versus Time Machine Gun. So Kushida, could still have some unfinished business with Shelly and Sabin and them. So
yeah, I don't think this really does anything for it because he's going to go a different route. Gujar makes sense. He just won 2023 lookout for whatever. So it makes sense. We don't have to lock into these for our personal grade, whatever. But I feel you on that. Also, we get, I guess not for the KO tag, but we're getting a 3-on-3 Death Dolls versus Tasha, Savannah, and Giselle. I thought it was for the tag titles, but
that would have been cool, but still.
Yeah. I don't think it really matters who wins this. Keep the storyline going if it's not for the titles. So I'm going to go Tasha, Savannah, Giselle. Because at least that, if it's not for the titles, we go into the tapings that you'll be there for with them figuring it out, tag team wise. who gets the tag team title shot with her? Is that the route they're going? How are they? So, be interesting. It says Tasha eats the pin. Why Tasha?
Oh man, no love for Tasha.
I love Tasha.
Actually, just for that, I'm gonna predict Tasha gets the pin.
All right, there we go. I'll rock with you on that. Let's start off the show like we thought, or you thought they would. Let's go Rich and Macklin. I'm gonna go Macklin. He's the words he's saying means he needs to keep going forward, I guess.
I agree.
And no DQ helps making Rich not look like I could see Rich doing 450s off the stage and stuff. Like they could do whatever they want. Rich is gonna look great. It's Rich. Doesn't hurt him, and it being no falls count anywhere helps lessen that blow. So let's go number one contendership for the Knockouts title. Let's go Taylor Wilde, Killer Kelly, Masha Slamovich, and Deanna.
I don't know.
Yeah, this one's hard.
Fuck. Well, let's look at the landscape here.
He said Tasha eats the pin. Tasha's my bowling teammate, and I'm just. Okay.
I'm going Deanna. I'm going Deanna. Deanna, because like I told you when I texted you about this whole lineup the other day.
Yeah.
Mercedes comes to Impact, and then from Hard to Kill till Slammiversary, that Kyrie match would have already happened, and I just know she's gonna beat Kyrie. I just know it.
So you think her versus Deanna?
Yeah,
makes sense. I like that.
So and it'll be like between now and then, maybe Mercedes cost Deanna her title match against. Maybe a Mickey, because they'll all be kind of woven in. Mickey, Deanna, Mercedes. That's kind of a nice little
Yeah, that's good.
So
I see Sue Young coming up there. Sue Young, which I think is in store for return eventually. She'll head to that tag division. Wild card here is if Wild and Kelly are going to team or feud. That's interesting as well. Yeah, there's a lot of ways they can go with this tag division, especially with people coming in and taking over that Knockouts world title picture. There's a lot of tag teams that could be built in this time, and I think we're on the cusp of that. But I'm gonna go with you as well because I just think of not only because of Tasha and Kelly, or excuse me, Taylor and Kelly doing something, possibly. There's Masha as well though.
Masha and Kelly.
That's a good team. Blood, I like it. But no, I see Deanna because that makes a lot of sense. And I think she resigns. I think she stays, but I'm going to go Deanna there. We also got the 4-way elimination tag team match, which I love for the World Tag Team titles. Bullet Club, Motor City Machine Guns, Major Players, and Heath and Rhino. Really? You think they give them to him like this?
It's so hard to go against the boys.
Yeah.
It is. But if they don't, so you think they're going to give it to him in like a one-on-one type situation?
I thought they would eventually give it to him. Motor City Machine Guns, clean, flat. Now, the way it could work is if Motor City's the last ones, but they're going to give Motor City the tag team titles again for like a month.
I mean, well, maybe, actually, I'm going to change my pick. I'm going to go Machine Guns because Dude, I got crazy predictions. You know what I'm saying? A lot of wild stuff is happening. A lot of wild people are coming in. A lot of loose ends are going to get tied. So we got to get Motor City versus FTR.
Yeah, and it is elimination, by the way, which I really dig. They could do where Motor City loses first. I always love that, and then the winner does. But I want Motor City to keep it. I'm going to go Motor City, so it happens. But of course, as I've been saying for the past few weeks, Bullet Club needs to be the ones that beat Motor City Machine Guns. Let's go through this quick. We got all the world title or the titles here because we'll make our time. But X title Trey versus Tarus. I'm going Trey.
Yep.
Okay. Last rodeo Mickey Jordan. I'm going Mickey.
I was going Jordan at the beginning of this whole thing, but recent events have caused me to start to look at things a little differently. So I'm going with Mickey as well. I ride with Hardcore Country.
I'm gonna roll with that as well. Not that I want Mickey to lose it right away. I just think that was a great retrospective they put on there. It felt like someone who would be okay leaving, but isn't. and that isn't it was what gets me. It means there's more. And Jordan can lose today in a house show, and she's still Jordan Grace, man. She killed it. This run was great. So I'm going Mickey as well, with the lights kicking off right after she wins and is crying, holding the title. And then last, Full Metal Mayhem. I went back and forth, but I'm going with Josh. And I'm not sure if he's coming alone. I don't know if this is the time. Man, it's going to suck when Mickey loses. That's a critical thing. Oh, he says, Masalko saying, I feel like Mickey's going to lose and old friends like Tara and Gail come out. Okay, so we think this is the write-off. I just think introducing, maybe it is them just telling her story, but does she look like someone who's ready to retire? They also mentioned Magnus. I just think there's so many cool things. And she even mentioned she would love for the last rodeo to continue with Mercedes being a stop. So let's see. But as far as your world title, you're going...
Josh.
You're going Josh.
If not now, then soon. The team is coming out. We got a fallen coach. They took coach out. So now we really got to get the squad together. And then coach is going to, of course, come back and beat Bully. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I don't see him giving the title to Bully, but if they do, I mean, I'm built into the storyline. If all it means is Josh being angry, creating Team Canada, then winning it right back, I guess you could go that way, but I think there's other ways you can go, including Scott versus Bully. So thank you, Lucha. Thank you guys for watching and viewing and spreading the word. We love you guys. We thank you. Lucha will be back next week to talk Hard to Kill after. It'll be a longer show, obviously, because there's a lot to talk about. But of course, check out Tuesday GoGo Power Rankings with Lucha, finally on there with Bert and Dadala as well. And then you have Talking Bloody Nonsense finally back in the new year. Craig and Nixon back at it Thursdays 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. BST. And then this week for Thursday's Impact, we have Heath versus Myers, a 6-man tag. Eddie, Macklin, and Moose versus Swan, Gresham and Hendry, Evans versus Rosemary, and Sammy getting his head shaved. That is a one last stop before Impact or before Hard to Kill. We'll be here on that Sunday afterwards. I'm excited, Lucha. Excited to talk about it, man. I would ask you what we're most excited possibility of happening, but I think top to bottom this card 1 through 10 is going to be a damn good show no matter if nothing happens. So your thoughts overall, your pieces, and we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, dude, this is going to be a fun year.
Yeah.
This is just going to be a fun year. Other than that, as always, shout out to the Diamond Villains. And other than that, we out here.
See you guys later. Impact on XTV this Thursday, Hard to Kill this Friday, and us Sunday live right here, twitch.tv/TNAIW.
TNA, 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 TNA. IW channel.